visitor on these lands for the last 10 years, and I'm raising my family here. And I really hope that, mining can be part of the opportunities that are available to my children as they grow up here and become adults. Um, Mining has been a cornerstone of Yukon's economy for, well over a century. And as we look ahead, this sector needs to look at sustainability, doing things right. I mean, that's been a resounding note from many geosciences, but particularly this one. And also engaging the next generation, getting them involved in what mining is and can be. And so today we're going to be talking about connecting folks with opportunities through education, training, and mentorship. And this conversation is about jobs, but it's also not just about jobs. It's about building pathways and connecting with people's values. And so I'll introduce our experts here today. So first we have David Dixon. He is an elder from Liard First Nation who is passionate about growing opportunities for young people in their home communities. David is a hunter and has spent many years working in the mining reclamation industry, and he has held many other roles within his community as well. So thank you, David, for being here. Next to David, we have Lisa Favron. She is a fixture in Yukon's placer mining industry, and she lives in Dawson, and she is a Yukoner born and raised, I think, 4th generation placer miner, yeah. And so she's a longstanding member of the Klondike Placer Miners Association, and she has also served in the education space on the Robert Service School Council for 11 years. Welcome, Lisa. And then we have with us Amanda O'Connor, who's an outreach geologist from the Yukon Geological Survey. And if your kids ever come home talking about cool rocks they saw at school, it's probably Amanda who's been talking to them. And last but not least, we have Dan Anton. He's the executive director of Yukon University's Center for Northern Innovation in Mining. And I know a lot of us know what that is, but it's a beautiful partnership between industry and post-secondary education to help connect folks with the training and the education they need to partake in Yukon's mining industry. So thank you, everyone. We'll start off today with David talking about his work in his community and the vision he sees.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is David Dixon. I live in Watson Lake. I am 71 now, and time sure goes fast. I worked in Ketsa Gold Mine for 13 years, reclamation. Then I did 1 year in Wolverine Mine. I quit Ketsa Gold Mine because of didn't get along with one of the camp managers. And the same thing happened with Wolverine Mine. It's in reclamation also, and I didn't get along with him. And I figured life is too short to continue in a job that I'm not happy with. So now I worked 1 year with First Nation School Board, and I resigned from that also, and because you have to be happy. And right now, the only job I'm doing now is Elders Coordinator for Liard First Nations. Thank you.
David, did you want to speak a little bit about some of the work that you do with youth in the community and getting them connected into the mining industry? I would love for you to talk about that. This is your time to shine.
Okay.
Yes.
Got to put my glasses
Oh,
on.
yeah, absolutely.
I did a really rambling speech. It was, then I put it on AI. Holy man. Is that thing ever amazing? It makes you actually look and feel important. Anyways, I have a pet project in Watson Lake that is talking about trades, and I used when I was with First Nation School Board, I see the students there. They're so They got no spirit. They have paper. They sit down and there's too much permissiveness. They teacher talks to them, they're looking on their phone. I tell them do something when we go out on a field trip. It's okay, I don't have to do that. And you kind of get really disappointed. And all my pauses eating out all the time, so I gotta try. So this is my project here. Importance of trades education in Watson Lake. My introduction is the development of practical job skills among students in Watson Lake is critical for their future independence and success. This report outlines the significance of trades education and the collaborative efforts required to ensure students are prepared for life beyond high school. Recent initiatives have demonstrated a positive impact of hands-on learning experiences. Industry exposure. Students showed strong engagement during a tour of Liard First Nation timber frame home manufacturing plant. Employment opportunities. Yukon University instructor Jerry Vigent organized tours of the Cantong and Wolverine mines, resulting in employment for some students. Cultural integration. First Nations land and language programs in schools help non-natives, non-indigenous students understand our local culture, fostering inclusivity and respect. But what I worry about is what's going to happen when their parents leave. Who's going to take care of them? Nobody but themselves. That's why I figure trades is so important. And the problem statement here is without targeted action, many students risk returning to a subsistent lifestyle focused solely on hunting and fishing after graduation. While cultural traditions are available, students also need marketable skills to thrive independently. If no intervention occurs, graduates may return to home without pursuing personal or economic growth. Trades programs provide students with practical skills for employment, opportunities to secure stable careers, a foundation for self-sufficiency after parental support ends. Teachers play a vital role in preparing students for this transition, ensuring that they can manage life independently. The town of Watson Lake, Yukon University, and the local community have expressed strong support for this initiative. However, leadership should remain community-driven rather than being led by Yukon University or First Nations School Board to avoid restrictive frameworks. Recommendations. Expand trades programs. Increase access to vocational training and certifications. Strengthen partnerships. Collaborate with local businesses and industry for internships and job placements. Community-led governance. Ensure decision-making remains within Watson Lake to maintain flexibility and cultural relevance. I'm trying to get trades down in Watson Lake, centered in Watson Lake, because Watson Lake itself is a hub for the outlying community, for Good Hope Lake, for Lower Post, for Ross River, for Teslin, for all these places. And that's a pet project that I want to get going on Watson Lake. I'm going to have my second meeting on November 26th, and I seen a model in on the internet calling. Anyways, it's based on a hub of Watson Lake. And in conclusion, trades education is essential for empowering Watson Lake students to build sustainable futures. By investing in practical skills and maintaining community leadership, we can prepare for the next generation of independence and success.
Thank you, David.
Thank AI. Yeah, thank you.
David, I'm sure that your passion has resonated with the group. So if anybody wants to connect with David after the session about how to support his initiative, you can certainly reach out to the Chamber of Mines and they can get in touch. Or I'm sure David, you'll be hanging around causing some trouble, right? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, David. So Lisa, kind of going off of what David was saying about getting industry involved in connection with education, maybe you can talk a little bit about how Favron Enterprises, your business, your Placermine, engages young people to come and work at your site, and recruitment, but also retention.
So recruitment and retention. So I was very fortunate enough to have 5 children, and they all went through the Robert Service School system. And fortunately, they had a lot of friends, so it was really easy for us for recruitment. We start with family, we go to friends, we go to community. As a small family-run business, we only have between 13 and 15 employees that we employ between April and November, our mining season, and then we have off-season work in the winter in the garage. So we have welders, we have mechanics, a lot of trades. Following what David was saying, we have personally, Favron Enterprises has been donating to Robert Service School for their trades programs. KPMA, who I'm also involved with, we do a bursary at the end of year for graduating students and for students in high school who have pursued the trades, as well as we are expanding into the arts program because one of my 5 children just got a degree in fine arts out of Thompson River University in Kamloops. So we're sort of expanding our world. Not only is industry important, but also the culture and the community. So we're just trying really hard to follow the footsteps of those in front of us who have paved the way for us to keep the students involved, keep the education going. Education is always key for understanding of who we are and what we do for the community and how we can get the community to support us. I think that's it.
Thank you. So speaking of education, I will go next to Amanda to talk about, where that information, where you can kind of foster that interest in rocks, right? From a young age through the Yukon Geological Survey.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're doing at the Yukon Geological Survey. I'm one of 2 outreach geologists there who get to do the amazing job of working with youth across the territory. So we focus on students in grade 5 because rocks and minerals are in the curriculum of grade 5, as well as mainly high school students, but we will work with students of any age. Any age can be interested in rocks and minerals. We found that kids get really excited about it. And our programs are, we have in-class programs. So this is where we're going to a school and we're bringing a box of rocks and minerals and going through identification of those rocks and minerals, as well as a bigger picture conversation about, geological time, how old is the earth, how do plate tectonics work, and sort of planting the seeds to get kids and youth excited about all of these topics. In addition to those in-class workshops that we do that are requested by teachers, they'll reach out to us and then we'll make the effort to fit them into our schedule and get to their class as soon as we can. We also do field trips during the short time of the year when school is in session but there is no snow on the ground. And so that's mainly Whitehorse focused. We will take students to the Whitehorse Copper Belt, which is excellent opportunity to collect some fantastic rock samples, minerals, and learn about not only the geological history of Whitehorse, which is fascinating, but also sort of the human history of Whitehorse and how that ties into the geological story of Whitehorse. We also do field trips to Miles Canyon and the Takini Thaw Slump out on the Alaska Highway. A really neat initiative that we did this year was we actually planned a new field trip that we'd never done before to the dinosaur trackway just outside of Ross River. So 2 years ago, myself and my colleague Lalo Eston, our other outreach geologist, had traveled to Ross River and Faro to do these in-school workshops and connecting with the local community there and the teachers. They remembered that and the students had a good time, so they actually invited us back to come and do this field trip. So we gathered all the students from Ross River, from Faro, and went to the dinosaur trackway, which was an awesome experience, I think, for everyone. And we hope to be able to add that field trip into our rotation. And, you know, these are not the only 4 or 5 field trips that exist in the Yukon. There are others that can be developed, you know, with the right support and time. So those are some of the neat things that we do on the regular with youth and getting them excited about earth science, rocks and minerals. We also had a really neat initiative that I wanted to talk about with when we were in Teslin, actually. We met a young woman there who was working in the school and clearly had a passion for rocks and minerals. And she approached me after the workshop and said, "Hey, this is fantastic." She was just working there part-time, sort of a year off in between high school and university situation. And she said, "This is fantastic, I'm so interested." So we actually were able to create a sort of part-time summer job for her where she was able to get fieldwork experience. She went out on TTC traditional territory lands with some geologists from the Geological Survey of Canada, who we at the YGS had partnered with, and got to do fieldwork for an entire week and kind of learn on the land, firsthand experience. So that was a pretty incredible opportunity, and we hope to do that again in the future.
Great, thanks, Amanda. So, also for any industry folks out there, if you want to join Amanda on any of these field trips or any of these opportunities in school, she wants you. Come hang out with the youth. So Dan, maybe, you know, we've kind of talked about how the vision in the community is important, and then, you know, those grassroots, you know, connecting with your children and, you know, their friends to help get them excited in the industry. Obviously their school curriculum as well, but, you know, once they're out of school, how do they take that passion and move it forward? So maybe you can talk about CNM and the work Yukon University does.
Yeah, so there's quite an extensive approach I could have to this conversation. And our outreach actually does include in school through our STEM activities. Amanda would know very well, as we used to work together in bringing the university's STEM into all Yukon communities. But a little bit about the Center for Northern Innovation in Mining, and my role also is the leader of all the community campuses among the other workforce development areas within the institution. And so that brings a pretty significant picture to the landscape of learning needs across our First Nations, our industries. We have the voice of industry through CNM. It is an annual plan that's put together from University and Center for Northern Innovation and Mining staff. In what we're hearing and seeing on the ground through our 12 community campuses, and what industry is anticipating in these regions, in their sites, as short-term, medium-term, and even ideally long-term major education and skills needs, so that we can anticipate and shift the programming that the center does and or indicate early leads into trades needs in particular. Currently, a significant amount of the work the CNIM does is in the Earth Sciences Diploma Program, as well as the Heavy Equipment Technician Trades Program. Now, those are just two elements of what the resources of CNIM have been identified by community and industry stakeholders as key to the sector, both in exploration and then maintaining operations through heavy equipment technician. But the university has comprehensive trades. It has academic programs in environmental monitoring, environmental conservation sciences, indigenous governance degrees, social work, education, likely probably nursing. We've been asked to investigate a law degree. And so all of these things are in the fabric of the economy and the industry, the social effects, the economic effects. And the opportunity the university brings to this is we, through our network of campuses, our community campus committees, and our president's committee on First Nation initiatives, we have multiple lines into and with industry and community and First Nations about what are the realities of Yukon and what is the context of the Yukon learner. And so what we bring to the table are our graduates have opportunities that bring the real northern context to social work in Yukon, to being a teacher in Yukon, to being a tradesperson in Yukon. And so those are elements that I think are special to the learning experience at Yukon University. Back to CNIM and to your comments, David. We do have a number of mobile trailers, and we specifically have a mobile trades trailer, and we do collaborate with our community campuses, our First Nations, on. I hate seeing it in the White Horse Yard. It's got to be out, or we've got to have some conversations. So currently, it's in Mayo. We had some welding running through the Mayo campus up there, and through a third-party initiative that has been targeted to retraining of workers affected from the Eagle Gold project. And so that's a significant piece of the envelope that CNIM and the university can bring, which is exploration, operation through the trades, through governance, through community development, through social work, and at the other side, environmental monitoring. And I think I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you. Incredible. So obviously we have some good foundations in the Yukon for getting youth engaged. And so my next question, kind of goes to Lisa and Dan, and then we'll follow up at the end here with some great vision from David. But when it comes to getting youth involved and staying engaged in either jobs in the industry or training programs or education programs related to mining, what are some of the barriers or challenges that you see, and are there any steps that you take personally or that the organizations you're with take to help people work through those barriers? So I'll start with Lisa.
So I would say probably the biggest barrier that we find is the lack of understanding what it is that we do. One of our biggest goals is we live and work in the Yukon, so this is our backyard. We want to make sure that what we do is respectful, and reclamation is a huge part of that. For a lot of people, when they hear the word mining, they immediately assume that, oh, you're being bad, you're doing things wrong. And so for us, it's education. That's where I find the biggest stumbling block is. My son's girlfriend came up from Alberta and worked for us this summer as an operator. And after her season, she has now switched her major in university to geology because she goes, I had no idea what this was all about. And the fact that what we were doing and how we're doing it, we're always thinking about the future, the next step. How can what we're doing right now in order to do what we do, how do we leave it, what's the next step? So I think the biggest thing is education, and that's not only for the youth or the people that are looking to get into the industry, but in order to gain support for that industry, support for the trades, support for all of the aspects that go with industry mining. You can't have industry and mining without support from the community, and it's a big circle.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa. And Dan, any kind of highlights from what Yukon University does to support students?
Rather than speak to highlights, I think what we see are that learners really benefit from the experiential learning, whether that's purely academic or trades, wherever possible, bringing the learning to the land to integrate the learning with the reality of doing the work. We see great success in student engagement that way, and where it's lacking, you have the pajama learner that is off on the screen and not really participating. Ways that we can support that, particularly on the industry side, and sort of leaning into youth who may have gapped out or haven't had a determined path forward, is success in programs that have a meaningful job opportunity and paid learning and a pathway from that learning into an experience. And the CNIM and our community campuses and many programs do engage with industries and First Nations and municipalities about those opportunities wherever we can through true partnership, see the whole person and run a program that meets people where they're at and ladders them into a meaningful role. And I think that's an opportunity.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone. And I think, at the end of sort of, figuring out what the Yukon has to offer and getting folks engaged in that at, any stage in life. And like we said, youth under 40, but there sounds like there's opportunities for anyone of any age to get engaged. I think David has some final wisdom for all of us to go forth and think about as we think about getting the next generation involved in the mining industry.
Hello? You got me? One of the things that I want to tell First Nations, I don't know if they still call it CPAR agreement or collaboration agreement or something, but I worked 13 years in Quetzal and 1 year in Wolverine, and one thing that I do know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I have I've seen some agreements where the local First Nations should be getting the employment opportunities from the band, and the camp managers, they like a First Nation person loses their job, the camp managers phones his friend in East Coast. That's why they all come over here. And they say, hey, want a job? Come on over. And there's no disagreements or anything. And that's one of the things that I want to say to the First Nations people. You have to lock in your native employment positions, plus a room for advancement. You have to do that. It doesn't matter how friendly your boss is or anything, you have to put that in. And my people were getting left behind because it's all academic, and my people, we learn better hands-on. We are hands-on people. We go through industry like sawmills when I was growing up. We learn by just jumping in. And training for Yukon University or wherever, it's always based in Whitehorse. And we're the other side of the mountains. And people probably say we're too far. And one of the things that I really want to see something happen in Watson Lake is that we have a training center down there, because it's dangerous for our people to be up here without their parents. We had a young female Casca person that was up here, going to university up here, and she got killed and found in the Tikini Hot Springs Road. To this day, it was not solved. So based on those kind of things, it's I just want to tell you, it's really dangerous for my people to come up here without their parents living up here. And the model that I'm trying to talk about that slipped my mind is it's called a consortium model. And also, I want to see the industry. We're so scattered, the industry in Watson Lake, that I want to see it unite together to try to get our students and young people going. Thank you.
Thank you.